I have always had the dream of farming since I was a little kid, and over the past 5 years, I have documented my journey of getting started farming from scratch. In this video, I'll show how much it all costs, from buying land and buying the first tractor, and how I was able to get all the funds to start farming on my own. I'll show all my mistakes and lessons learned from planting to harvesting. This video took me 5 years to make, and I hope you enjoy it. First, we need to start where every farmer begins, getting some land. This is my first farm. This is 120 acres here. There's about 70 tillable acres. The other 50 is kind of through draws. And so I grew up in a town of like 50, 60,000 people. And essentially like everybody from my town, nobody really farmed. If you were kind of interested in farming, you're kind of an outlier. And so I got interested in farming at a young age because my grandparents farmed in northern Iowa. And so one side of my mom's side of grandparents, they eventually sold everything in 2005. My dad's side still farms to this day. So when I was younger, I was pretty much always around their operation. That's kind of how I got the passion for farming. Through my head, I was running through all the ways to start farming really. And so this farm came up and I want a farm that it's not just a flat 80 or flat 160, but a farm that's cheaper ground that you can do some improvements on and buy smaller parcels in the area. We're kind of going from plain farming simulator to real life farming. That's kind of how I made the money to be able to purchase these farms. Now, after buying some land, I knew for the upcoming spring season, I needed at least one tractor. And so I decided to go with an early 2000s model John Deere 8000 series. I got outbid on a few auction sites and ran one up to like 95,000, but later on I ended up finding another John Deere 8110 for closer to 80,000 with very similar hours. So since I'm buying my first tractor and today's delivery day, I thought back to like when I was little and stuff, and I remembered I had all these tractors, probably just like every other farm kid has. Since I'm buying a John Deere 8110, I was thinking, I wonder if I have an 8110. It was an 8410. But anyways, let's go take delivery. There it is. It's here. It was a father and son that owned this previously, and they used it as their planter tractor, and they bought it with 3,300 hours. It does have the big 1000 PTO, so it's 3-point quick attach. It's a Cat 3 3-point. It doesn't have a hammer strap. It does have 4 hydraulics here, 450 weights on the rear. Now, one thing it kind of needs is tires. They're still totally usable for what I'm doing. So it's a 16-speed power shift. You got your mile per hour and gear selection right there. It has 4,900 hours. I got all the oil and fuel filters and air filter. So for context, guys, this shed behind me is not mine. My parents have an acreage outside the town I grew up in, but we just used the lot to service the tractor quick. The land I purchased was about an hour 30 away from where I currently live. When I was searching to buy my first farm, I was more focused on value. I wasn't sure exactly where's the best spot to buy. No building, no site, nothing. Just raw land. So I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here, and we're just trying to figure it all out as we go this planting season.
Should go straight down.
So I couldn't find a wrench for this. We're gonna try and use a belt.
All right, so this is our first time doing, I've never even done a fuel filter on anything. So we replaced it. I think we bled it properly and primed it.
So we're running into an issue where we can't get fuel to the tractor. We think it's because there's air or something here. So we're gonna try priming it again. This is the first time. If I knew what I was doing, it'd be a little easier. Shout out to Ben, Iowan farmer. I gave him a call and he kind of helped me out. He had the exact same issues with his 8110 too. So me and Spencer are gonna get washing everything. Well, we got her clean. Spencer even threw tire shine on her. I don't want to come off as a jackwagon about just bragging about money. Hopefully I can explain this in a way that maybe gives people ideas, start different businesses or invest in different areas, and hopefully it inspires somebody young that has the same dreams as me, because when I was young, if you give me, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, and a farmer, it's like, oh my gosh, that's a farmer. The earnings from this YouTube channel here is what I used to buy the farmland. Going back to the beginning, in my young days, I always started a lot of businesses and had a lot of stupid ideas, and most of them failed. But in 2014, I realized you could make money on YouTube. I was a sophomore at that time in high school, and I played a bunch of different games to see what would take off. I enjoyed farming, and then I came across Farming Simulator eventually. What's up, guys? So we finally made it to the stream. So after 3 years of making YouTube videos, I started to get it rolling. And by the time I graduated high school, I had around 40,000 subscribers and was making roughly around $3,000 a month. So going into my freshman year of college, I recognized the opportunity I had in front of me, and I was just dead set on posting a video every single day for 4 years straight. During college, I saved as much money as I could, so anytime walking to class, I was listening to an investment book or podcast in order to raise that amount of capital I'm making. By the time the end of college rolled around, it looked like I could start buying my first farm. Also, while I'm starting to farm, I started a software company called Squad Built Inc., and I'll have more later in the video on that company and how it turned out. We're super close to closing on another 90 acres about 12 miles away from here. So I ended up buying that 85-acre farm. So here's what my land costs look like on paper. Farm number 1 was 120 acres. I paid $330,000 total. This took 8 months to get done. It was a farm that nobody wanted, had to kind of work them down a little bit. Nobody was putting offers in. I got it for like what looks like a cheap price, but obviously the ground's a little more poorer quality. There's about 70 tillable acres on it. The CSR2 is 63. I paid about $4,700 per tillable acre. And then farm number 2, there was 85 acres on it. Bought it for $450,000. Now here's what the true real costs are. I'm not paying all cash for these farms. So here's how much I put down. Keep in mind, interest rates at this time in 2020 were low. And so I think you're actually at a competitive advantage. Even if you have the cash to be able to pay cash for a farm, I think it's pointless to pay cash for a farm. And I think you should borrow a lot of money when interest rates are low at these times. So here's a tour of that second farm I bought. You can see it's flat across here. Kind of back there, you can see grain bins in the background. Those grain bins back there, that's where all the corn's gonna be go to. So what's nice about this farm for me specifically, I don't have any bin site, so hauling grain out of here, all you do, load it in a gravity wagon, run a mile down the paved road, take it to the co-op, which is really simple and nice once harvest comes. I was thinking about maybe buying a Kinsey planter, and then I went to a few different farm equipment auctions to try and buy some tillage equipment and got outbid a few times. In between, while the weather allowed, we got some land improvement projects done on the farms I had just purchased. I don't have a shed yet or any buildings on any of the farms, so I built the entrance into the field a bit wider and laid some rock down so I had just some type of spot to park equipment or trailers. We also did a controlled burn on 20 acres of CRP that I have on field number 1 that needs to be burned about every 3 to 5 years. During that time, in early spring, a land auction came up for about 160 acres, about 3 miles away from farm number 2. So Spence and I are going to farm auction, and this farm came up like 3 weeks ago. It's about 4 miles from the second farm I bought, so we're gonna see what this goes for. I've got a number in. I'm gonna be bidding for it. It's 160 acres, only 107 tillable on it.
6,500 down, 4 down, 5 down, 6,500. 6,500 down, 400 down, 5. Here we go. Sold your way, $6,400.
Today's the day.
We got her bought. We bought 160 acres. Average dollar per acre was $6,400. It's extremely low because there was a 30-acre chunk of timber that I also paid for. We bought 107 tillable acres, and the CSR2 was 75, so this would technically be my best farm on paper. And the dollar per tillable was $9,500, $9,570 per acre. Now going into this spring, our land cost per acre is the number that I focus on most. Can we make that? Can we hit the goal? Can the farming operation make that land cost per acre, or do I have to add money at the end of the year to make up if we don't hit this $225, $180, or $375 per acre goal? Now it's springtime, and we got all the land we're going to be farming for the first year and the tractor. Now we have to get a planter bought and any other tillage equipment bought this spring. We're going to go with a 12-row planter. It'll be perfect for this tractor, perfect setup. So I finally found one just right before planting season here. So we got the planter all hooked up. She's a little heavy for sure. 2.5 hour drive, here we come. Hopefully nothing falls apart. We should have everything bungeed. So we're gonna hook up the tractor. Okay, so here she is, a John Deere 1760 12-row planter. Nothing too special with it. Trash whippers on the front that are just pin adjusts. There's spring down pressure, so there's no hydraulic or sure force or whatever that stuff's called. This is pretty darn basic stuff here. I should have it all set up I got the hydraulics. So we got the John Deere 2600, and then we have the CompuTrack 350. This is a field cultivator. I think it's a John Deere 960 or 980. It's 24 foot wide. Got good sweeps on it. Hoses look good, tires look good, so should be perfect for the 8110. Okay, we got this thing strapped down. This is gonna look a little odd. We're gonna stay safe, stay on gravel roads or other places. Put in four-wheel drive because you can see it's putting up pressure. That's not good, so we gotta go slow. We got about like 30, 35 miles. That all went a little smoother than expected. We got a 30-minute drive to the first farm. The first field we're starting on is field number 2. That was soybeans last year, and we're gonna field cultivate the soybean stubble and plant corn directly into that. After that, we're gonna go to field number 3, which is also soybean stubble. We're gonna field cultivate and plant corn directly into that. The last field we're gonna go to is field number 1. That was corn stalks last year, and I'm gonna no-till soybeans into all that corn stalk residue. You got a little gasket leak, which I've known about. Need to keep an eye on here. So this should be my first day planting ever. If everything goes good, we should have the planter on by 2 or 3. So we have about 40 acres left to field cultivate.
It's kind of like mowing, but a little more complicated.
I'll get out and show you guys, but it's pretty windy outside. But there's a couple times where if you're going directly behind that combine swath path, it is kind of bunching up a lot of that soybean residue. So that's kind of our only issue here. So for seed, we're running Whiffles. Everything seems to be planting pretty good. There's just a couple of spots where some trash got bumpled up, some soybean trash, and those row cleaners aren't doing the best job. There we go, right there. Spacing. Okay, another day of planting. We got probably 40, 45 acres left, maybe 50 acres left. I got all day, gonna take it easy, no rush. Yesterday for some reason I had in my head, I was like, I could probably get this done. And so I was going a little faster and stuff, and really shouldn't do that, especially your first time planting. First farm ever is done. I've planned in Farming Simulator, but Farming Simulator is way different than this. There are so many mistakes I'm making, like planting alongside the waterways, not going through them. And I think I was overthinking every little thing about how you plant this end row in this way. In this field, on field number 2, there's a bunch of terraces and all sorts of stuff. So it was a little bit complex field to plant for the first time. So now we have to fold up the planter and go plant corn on field number 3. So the co-op, that's like a mile away. I was thinking we had to drive like 10 miles just to put fuel in this thing, but the co-op a mile away. My dad was like, hey, maybe they have fuel. And so we stopped by and I was like, my gosh, we got lucky. So these guys have fuel at the co-op, which is super nice. We had a tire blow, so we're gonna try sliming it up. It looks pretty good to drink.
But what you want to do is put the goo in, spin it, and then the goo's supposed to go to the hole, but it seemed like it's starting to hold air.
As soon as we got started on field number 3, we noticed there was a lot of corn residue left over from 2 years ago when it was corn previously. This field cultivator wasn't doing the best job of it, so some spots we had to go over twice. So the next day, I finished up field cultivating the field, and we're gonna go grab corn seed now to start planting. We have a shootout between Pioneer and Whiffles is what we're going against. So I'm gonna put them side by side, 6 row, 6 row. Two firsts this year. I'm trying to learn how to plant and also trying to learn how to teach another guy how to plant. So
Not perfect, but it'll be fun to see it when it's all grown and ready to harvest. It'll be fun to see all the lines, the misses.
This is day 2 of this farm. We probably got 40 acres done yesterday and probably got another 60 acres to go. So after this farm, we have one more, which is the first farm that I bought back in December. And that hasn't been touched. That is all weedy, a weedy mess. It's corn stalks, and it was, they had a chopping corn head. And so it seems like I think I'm just gonna try to no-till soybeans into it. Seems like it'll do it, and We're just gonna see what happens. Corn's starting to come up here. Let's check this little guy out. See if I can pull him off without, I think we're gonna break him. So I checked out some of that corn crop, and some of it's just starting to come up, some of it's up, I don't know, about 1/4 of an inch. So I think what you want is even emergence. So that's the scale we'll be hauling grain into. I think I can fit duals on there. A lot of people have been asking how I'm gonna go about fall, and plan right now is to, I'm kind of starting searching to buy a combine here. So I'm gonna search this summer to buy a combine, and then I think a couple of gravity wagons, and that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna try and get the last 45 acres of beans. Well, the first beans I've ever planted, but the last crop that has to go in the ground here. So we're on field number 1 now, which is corn stalks that's going to be planted to beans. There's a couple areas where there's a couple washouts along the waterway, and so we took the skid steer and started digging out the waterway so we can plant through this waterway, not around it, and hopefully water runs down the middle of it. It's now early May, and a bunch of weeds have kind of grown up. I can't necessarily see when I planted with planting into like all these weeds, so it's nice that I have auto track. I've hired out all the spraying by the co-op. So the co-op comes in and sprays a pre-emerge and burn down. Now let's see if we can figure out how to no-till soybeans into all this corn stalk and weed residue. I feel lucky and spoiled to have a seed tender. The seed salesman, John, dropped off a seed tender. We're running into some issues trying to set this planter. So much of this weed, which I'm sure guys have figured out how to kind of get around, that we're gonna set these trash whippers crazy deep to see if we can kind of move these out, because what ends up happening, all the beans just sit on top right here. Here's a couple beans. I want to try and figure this out to plant through this stuff, because that'd be simple. At least they're getting down like an inch deep. I think we're fine. I've had a couple people ask, because I've talked about building a shed right here. I'm actually gonna put it in a different spot. I'm actually looking for like a 2-acre parcel, kind of close to a town, a little bit north of most of my farms, and there's a lake there. And so my whole thought is to eventually buy farms closer to where I grew up, and actually buy like a bin site and a house on there, and sheds and the whole farmyard and everything. It's kind of one of those things where you gotta wait for the right opportunity to come up. In a couple years, the right guy's retiring and there's a sale happening, it could be kind of the perfect opportunity. And so I'm always kind of thinking of that in the back of my head when I buy farms and build stuff. Hey, what's the resale gonna be on this building? This is kind of a hard moment. We have to shut off the tractor for the last time for planting season here. I bought this tractor with like 4,990 hours, something like that. We have 5,081 hours on this. A week after planting, everything has emerged now. After a few nice rains, here's what the beans are looking like in field number 1. I was a bit worried about planting into no-till, but it looks like they're coming up just fine. Now, over the summer, we did a couple different projects. One was cleaning up a wet spot and putting a culvert in to get to our last 13-acre little plot. I recently started looking for a combine, and I made a connection with a friend at college that had a landlord that was starting to retire and had a nice John Deere 9560 combine he was going to sell this summer. Okay, so Herb's the combine owner.
Yes, sir.
And you bought this in 2006. And you ran 300-400 acres through it?
Pretty much a year, yeah.
Okay. Good combine so far?
Oh, it's a great combine.
Okay.
John Deere, nothing runs like a Deere.
Awesome.
No, it was probably a 9,500.
Oh, okay. So it was Walker, and then this is Rotor.
Yeah.
You like this ton better?
Oh,
so they call them
Walkers. Like day and night.
Do you have the soybean header with this?
Yes.
You do. You do have the bean header. Okay, we'll go over that too.
This is where the rotor is. It's behind those grates. If your levers are closed, you're gonna throw too much corn out, be losing it on the ground.
So I called Herb a couple days after this, and we talked on the phone some, and I made him an offer, and we got a nice deal worked out. And it was really nice because I'm gonna be able to keep that combine in Herb's shed for the summer months, probably around like August or September. I'll drive the combine on down to the farm. Oh, one other thing. It also came with a 6 25F soybean header. Herb had ran a 606C, and unfortunately he sold that corn header, so I gotta find one, and then a couple gravity wagons, we should be set for harvest. We started spreading urea in early June for the corn crop. This is going to give it a little more nitrogen to finish off all of our fertility for this corn crop. Going into late June, there was a stretch for 3 or 4 weeks where we were not getting much rain, and there was definitely a drought worry. Luckily, throughout June and July, we caught just enough rain to keep the crop going. So here's what everything's looking like now, middle to late July. During planting season, I got my building locked in, everything set, and the builder gave me an actual early date for starting to build and moved it up on me, like they were able to get building soon. So in the summertime, we went through and took the brush mower on the skid steer, started mowing down corn and figuring out where our building was going to go in the middle of the field. We used a drone and walkie-talkie to start mapping out where we were going to go so we didn't destroy too much of the crop. We're looking at maybe $1,000 an acre of revenue that we're destroying, or $1,200 an acre of revenue we're destroying, but it's so worth it of being able to get this building in here. So I'm totally okay with it, and I was kind of expecting that. How we designed this building is, first step, we mowed down all the corn. Second, we came in with buckets and grapples and 2 skid steers with the help of a neighbor who's also does excavating. He came in and helped guide us, and all we did is scrape up all that corn residue and corn vegetation. We started scraping off a little bit of topsoil, also laid 3-inch rock, and then it took a lot of dump truck loads of rock to get a level building pad on this for a 60 by 120 machine shed. I picked a pretty flat spot with the back of the shed having drainage that had nice gentle slope that drained down and away from the shed. So it honestly ended up being, luckily, a pretty perfect spot to put a building. And then ran the skid steer and a laser to level everything off, and then we compacted it by driving the John Deere 8110 over a bunch of times and the skid steer over a bunch of times to really create compaction. So now the building process is getting underway. I found a couple of gravity wagons on Facebook Marketplace that we got to go pick up. We're going to pull home some Brent 657 gravity wagons. Oh, we got one hooked up. Spencer's gonna hook up the other. Man, one of the things about kind of getting started farming and stuff is you're buying equipment and stuff, and you're buying a lot of equipment, but you're meeting all sorts of people from all over Iowa, and it's just cool to hear about their farm and hear about like how they farm and their location, and it's just fun talking to a lot of different people. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna get the tractor. We'll just have the tractor paired to those and it's out of here because the shed site right now, I just want to get everything out of here. I just gotta figure out a way to get her turned around here. I was thinking at one point, you know, do you go to a semi? I could get like a grain truck. I thought about getting a grain truck. With these, they're just so simple and maintenance wise, and they hold their value really well. If I want to go to a semi or grain truck in the future, I'm not throwing any money into these. So it's that time of year where the ears are filling out, and we did some yield checks with John. It looks like the drought hurt us just a little bit. Some drought stress hurt us a little bit, but things are looking good and there's still good yield potential out there. Here's what the machine shed's looking like as of now in late August. It's crazy to think about 2 months ago, we literally were taking the skid steer, just coming along here and guessing like where we're gonna put this shed, and now the shed's built. I wanted to wait until all the concrete was in to kind of show you guys it. This is a 60 wide by 120 long with 16 foot 4-inch sidewalls, basically 16 foot sidewalls. I want it to be kind of nice and be able to like fit everything in it. So this concrete was poured, this pad, which is not 60 feet, it's like 66 feet, was poured about 30 days ago. So this is all good to go. This was poured 3 or 4 days ago. The steel color ended up being like a clayish, brownish color. And man, I love that color. We've got one window on this side, 2 windows on that side. And then we got a 14-foot tall door by 20, it would be 26 foot. So as we're gearing up for harvest, we went and picked up the combine. We brought the bean head back also that I purchased. And then I went out and bought a 6-row corn head. And now we have a 2-hour drive home. Like 2 nights ago or a night ago, a storm came through with like 70, 80 mile an hour winds. And they called me and said, hey, like, I think like 30 of your acres are down on the shed farm. So we're gonna pull up to there and see all the flattened corn. I don't know if it'll be completely flat or what. It still really sucks to see as your first crop that was looking so darn good. But it is what it is, I guess. He thinks the seat's too squishy. He keeps bouncing too much.
Yeah, I hit a big bump and both my feet came off the floor.
Wow. I knew I was kind of expecting something like this. It's just so scattered throughout the field too. Here's some good stuff through here. I really wonder if the shed took any damage back there. I'll have to get inside. I talked to my neighbor on the other farm. That's it's more of the bigger farm. So this one's 88 acres. The other one's 110, 115 acres. So it's a little bigger. It's a more productive farm. So the neighbor said that was all good. It didn't get hit at all. It's about 4 miles west of here. So this one got hit though. I'm just trying to get stuff prepared. Things are gonna get going. It's probably gonna take us like 2 weekends to get everything kind of serviced the way we want. So by 2 weekends from now, like guys around here are probably gonna be combine. I wouldn't be surprised. I only have 200 acres of corn. So we're just gonna go real slow, take our time and try to pick up most of this. We started harvest prep by greasing the combine, going around greasing every point, getting the bean head ready, checking knives, and getting the corn head ready that I just purchased. The original driveway into this farm was an old farmyard driveway that was really narrow, and I knew for this machine shed I needed a wide driveway, and so we came in and got permits to extend the driveway a lot longer, and I came in with a local excavation guy. He brought his excavator, dug it longer, pretty much as long as you can get in the county, or as wide as you can get in the county, and we backfilled it with a bunch of dirt, so we had a big driveway to this machine shed. So we have a visitor. We have Jeremy, known as Kedrick Farms, out here. He does a lot of farm sim videos.
Hey, how's it going, Grant?
Good. So this is pretty cool. Right at this moment, off the farm, I was knee deep in starting Squad Built Inc. with the sole goal of making a American farming video game for mobile devices on the App Store and Google Play Store. I felt like there was an opportunity to create a better farming video game than anything that was on the market at the time. We were just getting going on American farming, but I was struggling finding all the developers I needed to develop the game. I had just met Jeremy online, as he was another YouTube creator and he wanted to come out and check out the farm. He spent half the day on the farm and I had to go pick up a corn head about 2 hours away. And so we rode in the truck forever and just talked about potentially developing American farming. I learned that he had a career of the past 20 years running and managing software developers, and it all worked out extremely great. Grew up on a family farm, extremely passionate about farming. Like, it was the perfect scenario. And now if we look at today, we got American farming launched, and Jeremy's now the head project manager, managing everybody in the company. And we're also working on expanding the company and bringing a lot more stuff to the table with the company. So now it's late September and we're ready to start soybean harvest on farm number 1. That was the first farm I bought and the farm we no-tilled soybeans into corn stalks on. Here we go. These beans are completely laying down the other way, so I need to get around the field, come back this way, because right now, God, I'm just running them over. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. I don't know, man.
There's the beans back there.
Here we go, the first dump. Surprisingly went good, cut beans there for the first load. First day is over. It felt like the past 8 hours just went so quick. I wish I would have got the monitor hooked up earlier and saw that there was no moisture sensor on that combine, because I'm gonna get one ordered here Monday so that way we can actually see yield and stuff. I'd be curious to see what those beans are doing. It is harvest day 2. Spence ended up skipping some class. As starting out farming, I don't want to toss a bunch of money into infrastructure. So right now we're taking all of the grain to the elevator. About half of my total acres I pre-sold back in June, July, but the other 50% acres that I didn't sell yet are just gonna sell at cash price at the elevator. So with the drought, I was a little worried. I wasn't sure what my yield was gonna be, so I just didn't pre-sell too much. So we'll go to beans here, September 30th. Price $12.31 is the cash price they're going to give me. Basis is about 60 cents under, so that's just the difference in futures price to cash price essentially. Well, we're going to get started here today. First time fueling up. Spence is excited to use the fuel tank. Yeah, I took the oil. Check to see how many beans we're actually dropping. I would have came with the combine across this way, and these beans were pretty much laid over already going this way. And so I'm missing all those beans right there, and that's a lot of beans. I'll come back through with the combine and just combine this way to pick them up, but I just got to be careful I don't miss spots like these. We've got a little fluid leaking off the hydraulic. We're trying to combine at an angle, so there's some down beans laying this way. Combine beans though, it's pretty fun. I wonder what's better, combine beans or combine corn? Corn, everybody says corn's a lot more funner. I've never done it. And yes, funner is a word. Well, Spence is full. That's all she wrote for the day. It's his first time pulling a wagon, so there's a couple hills across there. $30,400. We're gonna get going. We only got 480 bushels done today, but hey, it was fun. We just take our time. I gotta get going. I got a meeting I gotta get back for tonight. Yesterday, I think we got like 10 acres done. Nah, 13 acres, something like that. It's funny because some of the big boys on YouTube will do like 200 acres or 100 acres in a day, probably more than that even. We're getting 10. We're going slow, we're learning, so it's all good. Plus, I really enjoy it. So as much time as I can spend in the combine, I'm happy. This is gonna be the cross, and then we gotta take the combine across. Oh, it is gonna be a little tight here. So we brought the skid steer and added a little more dirt to widen the crossing so I could get the combine across it. With the tractor and planter, it was fine getting across it, but the combine sits just a little bit wider. Here goes nothing. Head real low, and I may almost scrape the ground with that sucker. Well, shoot. At least I got Dave watching. Hey, Grant! I gotta go, baby. I gotta go, baby. Grant, you're good! Just send it! We made it across with the help of Dave. Right as I was getting going, got something caught in the head. I'm just gonna take a look real quick and see what it is. We got about 10 acres done, I'd say, and usually I'm always overfilling the left side. Oh yeah, well, we got one more load. That should be about 500 after one more load. Moving on to the next one. 5 acres in that little field. I think there's 5 acres in this little field up here. I'm gonna pull up out of here because this whole field is laying over that way. I'm could cut across. We'll run down the other way and then we'll come back. Now, staying through here is probably some of the best beans that I've seen. I guess most of them were knocked over, so these look pretty good. The fact that all the timber surrounding them. On the last row of this 5 acres, then we just got 13 acres over on the other side of that timber. I think this is gonna be kind of a full load here. So he's gonna have to get careful here. This is gonna be fun through here.
Yep.
We made it. That's gonna be a little, well, wagons won't be too bad. Oh yeah, 13 acres, the biggest field I got here. This is gonna be fun. So this is what it feels like to combine good soybeans. You can't beat this time of year. Sunset, guys are going. Trying to race to the elevator. So he's gonna probe me, get moisture on it. Now, since I took in the last of the soybeans into the elevator, I was able to get a sheet of our total amount of bushels we brought in off that field. From my estimations, it came in to around 41 bushel per acre. So now we started switching over to corn and starting harvest on field number 2. This field had a lot of down corn, and I was curious to see how it's going to yield. We are going to get the moisture 15.4. I think it's 15% is market price. I want to see how much corn we're blowing out the back. We're trying to run the corn head as low as possible, because there's just a lot of down corn, and yeah, you do not want to see that. Our tank's clean, just a little too clean, a little scary. So we're gonna open up the chaffer a little more here. We're gonna wait for more dirt and a bad sample to come through before we tighten up that chaffer, just to make sure we're not throwing too much out the back. We need it to be, we want it to be squeezing that stock almost.
That's gonna a medium-sized stock though.
That's a medium size?
Yeah, the biggest one I could find was right there.
Holy crap! Woo! We're gonna overfill her. Holy crap! We got a lot in there. Awesome. That's cool to see. We didn't even do that many acres. Good sign. Okay, we got 533 bushels out of that. It was 15.8 moisture. So what I'm gonna do is, I don't have a yield monitor, but I really want to know what the yield is. So I'm gonna go to the 4 corners of this plot and just map on my phone. Drop point, 2.51 acres, roughly. There's a lot of down corn through there, so 2.51 acres, so 533. It was a little higher, but we had a moisture dock. Divided by 2.5, 213? Wow, that's not bad through here. That's pretty good. Awesome. Okay, I'm kind of pumped. There was a lot of down corn through there, so I think we'll hit some better spots in the field. 3 1s out rolling today, looks like. We had a tire go bad, and there was metal wiring, the steel metal wiring starting to show on the tire. So I went and replaced one of them. Looks like the AMS guy's already here. We're finally gonna get to installing the moisture sensor.
Mass flow sensor.
Mass flow sensor. Once we get this map up and stuff, this is gonna be a good idea of how it's actually gonna yield in certain spots. So that's why, to me at least, mapping is super important. So it literally just feels the amount of pressure of grain coming against it.
Measures the amount of movement it gets to get your yield.
We're gonna go see what this actually does. I'm curious to see what it's gonna yield if we're picking most of it up. There's some cobs laying on the ground there. It's doing 91 to 105 through here. It's really gonna bring down the average. Well, we got something stuck in there. I'm gonna reverse it a bit, and then I'm gonna clean out the rest of it. We'll see how this goes here. Co-op's literally like a 1.5 miles, 2 miles away. So it's literally like running to your bin site pretty much. It's pretty darn close. We're gonna roll and try to get another cart loaded. Elevator closes in an hour. Can I do 500 bushels in an hour? I should be able to. Tomorrow Spencer's coming to help. When I'm by myself, I can literally load 1,300 bushel, 1,350, maybe overload those wagons. I gotta go a mile, 1.5 miles down the road, and I can shut the combine off and then go dump it. It'll take me a while to get 1,300 bushels, so that will work a lot better. Wow, awesome. Jesus, that's cool. That was a good lap, good lap. 350, no way. Yeah, right. You're playing with me. Well, we got the last load. I'm just gonna back the wagon in the shed for the night. I should get some tarps. Tarps would be nice. That was pretty fun. Last load did 205. Just a couple sprinkles to weten everything up. The corn doesn't slide as good, it seems like. Gosh, I haven't seen this through the field. It's just snapped over. God, there's a lot of material feeding through there. I gotta go slow. That strip started out rough, but then at the end it got good. So I'm curious to see what's kind of out here. This is the part of the farm I expected to do good. There's not as much wind damage, so we'll see how it does. Now this is pretty cool to see. Well, I gotta stay straight on the row, but it's like 250, 270, 230, 240. Oh shoot, we're off a little bit. You know, that's kind of cool to see, I guess. We totally, you can probably see on that drone video, I can guarantee you I spilled corn over there. Gosh darn it. I thought it was the perfect moment. Everything's going good. So that last one we did was 211. It was 235 until we hit a couple bad spots of down corn, but here's most of the spots we did. Previously I got into some really good spots right here, and then this was rough through some waterways and hills through here. Deer ate this apart along a timber. This is like public hunting land over here. Some of our best strips were right along the roadway there. So this is like ADCSR2 dirt, which is like real good dirt through here. I woke up excited to pick corn today. It rained pretty much all week. Like we got 2.5 inches of rain throughout the week. Oh look, way down there goes a combine. It's even red and it's going. We're gonna get this started, let this warm up, and then I'll run the tractor down there, sprint on back, get the combine going. Here we go. It's a little saucy in one spot. Other than that, it looks pretty good. If I can get up and down this hill, that'll be nice. There's Spencer.
Farmer Grant is stuck. First time in the combine.
It's way too muddy out here too. We may have to go to the other farm. This is the other 110 acre farm. We're hoping maybe that we could get some of this. On the bottoms of this farm, there's no way. Those are gonna be soft. We're gonna head out of here. We got Spencer in the tractor, Josie, Spencer's girlfriend, in the truck. Absolute beautiful day to go out and pick some corn. Toughest time is going to be keeping this corn away from the combine. Right now, like Spencer, like the good strips he's on is like, it's in between 250 and 300. It's insane through there. We got Josie, Spencer here. Yep. Right now his field, what the last load do? So last load did 263. So this is what we have to go up. You can see it's 3 big hills here. I'm probably gonna have to downshift to 13. We're down to 6.5 miles an hour. There we go. Through here is just insane. 280, 298, 286. Try and make it to the elevator before they close. They should close at 7. We should be good. I seriously thought I lost you guys. I left you guys in the tractor all night.
101.1 with Keith Urban.
That strip through the field just did 250. That's really good. I think that's the best, like, really long strip across the field that I've had so far. Most of it's been like probably 230, 240. Big mama jama right there. Okay, let's hit the road. So we ended up finishing harvest later that day, and I'll go over the yield results of all the fields after we get a couple fall projects done. We are borrowing a neighbor's disc ripper and doing tillage on field number 3. It's corn stalks right now, and we're going to disc rip the corn stalks, which gives me the option to go corn on corn in the spring. The other 2 fields, I'm not touching this fall. So I'm renting this ripper from my neighbor. Okay, all the tires should be aired up. We're gonna hit the road here. I've never run an AB line, so we're gonna figure this out and get it set. So current track, accept. It's steering, it's steering. Oh, that's awesome. I think we're going real deep. It's getting real chunky. I think I'm gonna lighten it up a bit. This is my first time doing some heavy pulling with the tractor, and I was actually pretty happy with the job it was doing. The goal is to size up the corn stalks and get them to break down quicker, because I was thinking there's a chance to go corn on corn next year with the way things were looking price-wise. By getting rid of the corn stalks, it gets rid of some carbon and doesn't tie as much nitrogen up for next year's corn crop. This 8110, this thing has some nuts. Like, I am impressed. I thought it was gonna struggle with this, which it does. It slips a lot and stuff, but no, it seems to do just fine on that ripper. I'm surprised. So a couple weeks ago, I brought the 8110 in for service at John Deere, and it's done. I was like, hey, do you guys do dynos and stuff on it? Because it'd be cool to see what it dynoed. So Brian's the mechanic that worked on this tractor. Did a lot to it. We got the valves in check, right? Valves in check, hydraulic service.
Yep, transmission calibrated.
Transmission calibrated. Spence, what do you think she's gonna do for PTO? 165 on the, is what they're rated at for PTO.
Right here, kick it in.
Kick it. It's 180, 181.
Here's your torque, RPM speed.
Yeah, that was cool.
Brian, the mechanic, even, he was finishing up late and he had some spare time, and so even waxed the tractor, the front, so it's super shiny. Welcome home, old buddy, old pal. Deere Van Wall, they got everything done. First thing was like change all the fluids. We did have a oil leak out of the oil cooler that they fixed, And then the valve clearance got all adjusted, everything like that. Transmission recalibrated. There's a couple small miscellaneous things they did to it too. I wanted a professional mechanic to take a look at this thing just because I just got it. Just make sure everything's, you know, good on it, stuff like that. Planting season, we drove the tractor down from my dad's, which was like an hour away, his small like acreage shed. Bought a tractor, planter last second, cultivator last second. We got the whole crop in the ground. We got planted corn really good, kind of mid to late April, pretty average. We got beans in ground by May 10th. The thing I missed out on is like finished planting corn, and then a week later I was like, oh shoot, I got time to plant beans, it's looking good and stuff like that. So then that whole week I was working on the computer all week with the other YouTube channel and the software company. Well shoot, I just missed 7 days of planting that I could have literally put beans in the ground. It was just stupid because it probably cost me yield. We still got the beans in on May 10th, but I'm not gonna make that mistake twice coming next year. Okay, summertime, went and built this shed. It's a 60 by 120. We got the shed in. This is all I need. It's probably honestly more than I need. August, September came. I wish I was around to see the windstorm, but the windstorm on this farm specifically, like 35% of the corn was down. This farm didn't end up doing as good as I thought it was gonna do because the corn was looking super good. Fall, we picked up 2 wagons to use. Those worked pretty good, but when we got into some hills, you could only pull one at a time. So harvest time, the beans was the first farm we harvested, 43 acres worth of beans. They yielded 41 bushels to the acre, which was horrible considering like the neighbors around me. I was hearing like 70 bushel beans around me. The farm fertility isn't the best, so we're trying to kind of raise that fertility. They did get hit by wind also. So yield totals on this farm, it was 83 acres. This was the first farm of corn we started harvesting. That did 193 bushels to the acre. If we didn't have the downwind, this farm probably would have done like a 200 or 210 or something like that. I was really expecting it. Okay, corn on the other farm was 207. That had some wind damage, but not as much. There's kind of a issue where it sits wet in one spot. But honestly, when I look at like yields and everything in this whole year, 2021 summed up, it was a pretty darn lucky year because commodity prices were up a ton. It's a heck of a year to start farming and stuff. Obviously, you know, when I was bidding on some stuff to get some equipment like the tractor and stuff, you were starting to, in 2021, you're starting to see prices of like on early 2021, late 2020, you're starting to see prices of, you know, used tractors starting to rise, land back then too. So when COVID came in early 2020, I was really starting to look at a lot of land and a lot of different farms and stuff, kind of all over central Iowa. Went to a couple different auctions. I totally regret not buying those because it was way better quality farms. They were going for half as much as they do now. But anyways, I ended up finding one farm and made that offer. Then 5 months later, we closed on that farm. Then there's another farm that I bought and then another farm that I bought. But through the COVID time frame, it was like you're dropping interest rates so freaking low. We're manipulating these interest rates to almost zero. The Fed balance sheet is screaming higher. We're at $120 billion a month in QE to the markets. Like these markets are screaming, and we're adding so much liquidity to the system that eventually that starts carrying over into other assets. So through 2020 and 2021, we've seen all these asset classes rise a ton. And some of that effect, I truly believe, comes over to farmland, where you have investors that have done well or get flushed out of other markets like the corporate bond markets because the government is bidding for those or the banks are bidding for those bonds. And so you have investors getting flushed out of there, and eventually it kind of leaks its way into all sorts of asset classes. Plus, when you drive interest rates this low, it's kind of like the perfect storm, and we had commodity prices going and everything was going. And so like farmland this year's up over 30%. So if I want to buy a farm now, got to pay, you know, like 30% more to buy that farm. So I was lucky to get in and kind of buy some ground in 2020 and 2021. It was just super, super lucky timing. 2022 season, it's going to be the same amount of acres I'm running. I would love to keep buying more farmland and adding more acres that way. So when opportunities come up for farmland for sale, I'm always looking at them, just kind of always evaluating them and seeing if they'll work out. I'd like to get a sprayer bought because now we have water. But then if you get a sprayer bought, you're literally switching the tractor from the cultivator to the planter to the sprayer or any other miscellaneous jobs it needs to do. It'd be cool to get another tractor. I don't run that many acres, so it's kind of hard to justify. And then Spencer is done with college too, actually. So he's gonna have a lot more time. He's gonna help out. I'm trying to get him to buy a piece of farm ground too, because he's got some money in the bank he could buy a piece of farm ground with.
We'll see though.
Grant and I are brothers, so I'm 2 years younger than Grant. I'm 21 right now, Grant's 23.
Yeah, but mainly full-time, technically you're doing YouTube on your gaming channel.
Yep, so I have a gaming channel just like Grant's. It's just called Spencer TV. Grant's is The Squad gaming channel. And so that's full-time if you want to call it that, but obviously I have a lot of time. I always did that with school just like Grant did, and so when school's gone, now I can do something fun.
It was always a dream to start from scratch, and we're finally in the process where year one's done, and we're heading into year two. To start off year two, we bought a camper to park in the shed to stay overnight. As last year, we slept in an enclosed trailer a few times during planting and harvest season, and thought a camper would be a little nicer.
Oh God, what's it now?
It's full. You got somewhere to dump?
I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea to buy this thing, but me and Spence bought her. She's an oldie.
To get it to a 50 amp to a 30 amp to a 30 amp outlet.
It's nothing too fancy, but it'll do good. It'll do good.
Anyway, so you can sleep 10 people. So for Ragbri, we can put 3 people, 4 people up here. You can put this folds out to a couch. This goes out to a bed, or this folds out to a bed. This goes to a bed. And then you got a queen bed back here, and then shower, which is gonna be super nice. 2 bunks and a queen bed back here. Now that we have a camper set up, I borrowed a neighbor's vertical tillage tool to do some spring tillage on field number 2. We got it hooked up and added some front weight on the tractor.
It's like 2.5, 3 inches. So it seems to be doing a real nice job of just chopping up the stalks. That's all I'm looking for. I really do not want to turn any dirt, but the reason you got to turn a little dirt is just to kind of pin the stalks down. It's awesome how it just chops up all those stalks. That's all I'm looking for, really. Just because this was down corn here.
We ran the VT on field number 3 after we got done with field number 2. And this is the finishing pass after I ripped it in the fall. Then we'll be planting corn on corn in this field when it's ready.
One of the rows isn't planting, row 7. Everything else seems good. I'm thinking maybe we have too much down pressure because it's all packed in there like really tight on the sidewall. So everything else when I picked up, there's a couple of seeds there. Couple of seeds there. I just want to make one final check on planting depth this morning before we really hit it hard here. It looks like we're good. I'd rather have them a little shallow this year just because it's so warm and there's a good amount of moisture there. Hopefully they can germinate pretty quick. Spence just finished his 35 acres here. We have 23 more acres back there. We're getting real close on seed, and this is corn on corn seed. So it's smart stacks. So I may have to go run and grab some more. We'll see. Because I think we might make it. We finally got adaptive curve to work on the end rows, so it's kind of nice for the end rows. It doesn't really matter too much, but it's cool to see the tractor follow the curves and stuff on your second pass on the end row. Seems to be doing a pretty good job too. Almost better than I could do, it seems like. Found another one. Is it ours? The bolt came with it this time.
Yeah, it did last time too. I tightened this as hard as I could. I don't have a 7/8 socket.
I think there's a couple washers that usually are supposed to go in there. Me and Spence, we couldn't find any washers, so we just tossed it on there. And I think that's why it's coming off. Well, I think we're gonna make it. We topped off with some seed. We'll be finally done with this field. The thing is some of the next farms I'm going to, the next one is nothing like this. Like my biggest field is 12 acres on that farm. Most of them are like 5 acres and it's all weedy and I should have sprayed burn down. So I'm trying to debate, do we no-till corn into it or do we try and field cultivate? If I field cultivate it, it's so weedy that it's gonna make a mess. Okay, on this next field, we're gonna lower the population It's not as good a farm, so we're gonna load at 24, 24. This next farm, it's gonna be a fun one. Oh, whose nice grass field is that? That's beautiful. Oh, it's just my cornfield I'm about to plant corn into. I cannot believe it's this high. I came here and I swear it was like a week ago on video and these were just getting there. And now they are just crazy. Well, I guess I'm cover cropping pretty nice. My whole plan was to field cultivate this because the ground was super rough. I was gonna level it out all nice, plant some awesome corn into it. It got so late. See what happens. There's nothing on the line. It's not like we have $7 corn right now. We're gonna crank up the down pressure on these. We'll run them in that second one. Okay, we're gonna give her a shot. It's still mucky. Right about 2 inches right there. Was that where it was at?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna try it. It seemed really nice. Down pressure's cranked up. Closing wheels are cranked up. Closing wheels are doing their job. I think it would have been a bad decision to field cultivate this because everything's at the top and we're going actually through, everything's at the top layer and this is all underneath, and so there's no residue right in that seed bed. The only thing is, can we get this sprayed in time so that seed can come up through that row? We got that planted, and now moving on to the 13. We got 13 acres over here to plant, but should plant a lot faster because I've been planting like 5-acre batches. We're rolling good. I swear this part right here is like the flattest, nicest straight rows that I have. And it just goes back to that tree line on this farm. Like, it is just so hilly, little plotty, but this is rolling good here. We are officially done with corn. Got done right at 10 o'clock. Okay, it's the next day now. We're gonna get planting some beans here. I have 80 acres to plant, and then we're gonna get an awesome rain tomorrow. So it's gonna be, as long as we have no breakdowns, fingers crossed, we should be good, and we should get an awesome rain to kind of soak these in, and everything should work out good. Okay, back on. We're planting around the shed. I'm trying to keep it real nice and clean, but I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do behind the shed there. I'm gonna leave it as dirt or just plant it. I think I'm gonna plant it here. I keep shearing bolts on the marker arms on this planter. There it is. Oh, we're lucky. I stepped on it. Oh, okay, we got that fixed. That's good to go. You can see some of these closing wheels. They're getting mud on them already. There's some wet spots out in this field still, and it is crazy. I wish I would have got everything PT'd because there's some bottom spots at kind of bottom of the hills where it's just, you're going through some like muck. Okay, it's squeaking pretty bad out there. Refilling. Okay, it's 1:15 a.m. It's starting to get real windy outside. We have 8 acres left of beans. It's gonna be close on getting downpoured, and we're about to run out of seed. If it all works out, we will plant the last acre with the last bean, and it will be downpouring right when we pull out of the field. This will be the end of plant 22. Dude, we can make it. Holy sh*, I think we can make it. It's starting to rain. 8 more acres. How fast can this planter go? That is what we have to finish right there. Update, we have like 2 acres left. We're running out of seed in most bins. I'm just going and mixing, and I'm running out in the rain. Spencer's riding around on a dirt bike. We are done. God, I hope I didn't miss anything. Checking. Didn't record for that. We are good to go. Woo! 2 o'clock. I thought I was gonna get done at like 10. We got probably 1/10 to 2/10 of rain This doesn't seem like it got as much rain as the bean farm that we just got done planting. This corn was planted on Wednesday. Today's now Sunday. Here's what she's doing already. So this has been, it's been hot. We've been roughly 4 good Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning. So a good 3 days here. It's starting to come through. We're probably another inch yet from emergence. That's good. If this stuff is emerging quick and stuff, that's going to be perfect.
Now at this time in my farming journey, I was completely swamped with getting American Farming built, running the Squad YouTube channel, farming, and running this YouTube channel. In early summer, I announced American Farming game to the public with a launch date. We had a wet spring and then things turned dry, which is the worst possible combination to have. I ran my first field ever from a neighbor. It was 20 acres of CRP that came out of a contract and hadn't been farmed for decades. I no-tilled beans in it the first week of June, as this had happened last minute and ended up being a failure on my part. This is what those beans look like 2 months after planting.
They actually look, this looks really good. We just got rain and stuff. It was dry after I planted these. So it looks like the beans are good, but then you go and you're like, oh, the beans are just covered up by the grass. No, what actually happened over here, the beans just never got through the grass. Like when you get into thick grass, the beans just did not make it through here. I mean, this was planted 2 months ago, and these beans are just trying to survive.
The ground was just a little too wet when planting. With the drought starting in the summer of 2022, it wasn't going to grow anything. I did put on some urea during the summer, and luckily we did get some rain to finish out the growing season. So here we had some nice ears growing for corn. For the American Farming game, I had a booth at the Farm Progress Show for a release. Here's how it went.
I want to give you guys a tour of the Squad Built booth. This took a while to get all set up and stuff. The American Farming key art sign up there. We sponsored, so I sponsored some, or our company sponsored some FFA kids, and they worked at these. I saw these at the Iowa State Fair, and then I was like, okay, we got to have these at our booth. So here's a 1066 black stripe. It wasn't front wheel assist originally, and then Garrett's the guy who worked on this front wheel assist axle, and they did the swap and everything behind it. This is a pretty neat tractor. This caught everybody's attention walking by. We got the whole crew that pretty much does all the work and stuff for us. So this is Jeremy, Kedrick Farms. You guys might have seen him on the YouTube channel before.
Howdy, howdy.
And he's one of our main developers. We got Garrett, he's the guy, he's the social media guy behind here, so he's behind all the Squad Built and American Farming stuff, all answering all emails, customer support stuff. Everything. So that's Garrett, and he's an editor. He's a video editor too. So this is Buck. He works on the Squad channel with me. So
yeah,
at high school, just went full time with us. So
pretty much. I'm just along for the ride, guys. I'm here to enjoy it.
I'll put a clip of him riding a motorbike yesterday and getting paintballed down last night.
The Energizer Bunny, Dumb and Dumber Part 2. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is. Oh yeah, that's an Ultra 56.
Now it's time for harvest. Field number 3 was corn on corn. It's not looking too good throughout the summer, but field number 1 was corn on soybean ground, and honestly, it was looking really good. We no-tilled it, no-tilled corn into it, and I think it's got some potential going into harvest 2022. Same thing with the beans. I think some soybeans on farm number 2 have some potential yet.
Well guys, today should be the first day of harvest, and I think these beans are going to be ready to go. There's a couple leaves still, and a lot of my neighbors say they're fighting green stems and a couple of leaves on the beans. Maybe I'm just a young, stupid, excited farmer ready to go, but call me crazy. If these beans don't go today, I think I'm going to maybe put on the corn head. We got to go through it a tad bit yet, and then maybe go try picking some end rows of corn on corn just to open up the field. I'm guessing it's probably going to be like 18-19% moisture, and we're going to have the co-op dries it down on my own dryer, but it'd still be nice to get something done and open up a couple fields or something. Okay, it's now 2 o'clock. These beans they've been baking a little bit. I came into some 3-1 beans at the end. I had to, so that's why there's some pods in there that aren't filled up, but I just want to see how the combine's doing back here. Ooh, there's way too much coming out there. Look at that. The beans tested 11.2, so they're dry. They're good to go. I need to open up the chaffer a little more, see if we can get a little more dirty sample. We got 4,000 pounds on us. I'm gonna top them off, or not top them off, fill them up.
All right, I think Grant's gonna unload into the wagon. We're gonna take that to the co-op to calibrate Grant's scale in the combine. So then he'll know weight and then the right bushels per acre. So he can adjust it on the monitor. The big problem is we have a lot of hydraulic oil coming out of the bean head.
We had 4,800 pounds on us, and this is only showing that we had 4,400 pounds. So change my calibration factor. Should be set up better here. Well, we checked that down there. The leak's not too bad. So we're gonna keep going. We got 3 hours left. The elevator closes. Get a couple acres knocked out, and then we'll pull the head off and then probably try and take apart that hose. It's tough because it's stuck inside the bar, so I think it might be kind of tough to get to. We'll see though. We'll figure it out. Got Spence unloading on the go here. We're not going too fast here. Beans are a little tough, so once we start getting a bunch of weight on the wagon, I don't think we'll do much unloading on the go here. Perfect way to end it with a nice sunset there. We're gonna call it. That was we did 8 acres. We were going pretty slow and stuff. We yielded 68 bushels an acre on those 8 acres so far, so that's pretty darn good. I'm super happy with that yield. If this field finishes out above 65, I'd be super happy with that. Corn's gonna be rough though, I think. A lot of neighbors are saying they found some really good corn for the conditions that we have, because we were in a pretty bad drought, and it's a lot better than their expectations, but I still think on some of my ground that corn's not gonna, especially with corn on corn, it's not gonna be amazing or anything. The hydraulic leak, we checked the combine and it's actually using a lot of hydraulic oil. It's leaking down there somewhere, so 5 different hoses running underneath here. We got the combine apart, but they run through this tube here. So we gotta do our best guess, try and guess which hose it is here. Oh, well guys, I think we figured out what one it was. Hopefully that was the one, otherwise it's gonna be a pain to get another one, but. Welcome back guys to day number 2 of harvest. We're gonna get started here this morning. I started looking at sickles, and there's a bunch that are pretty dull. So every morning when we go by John Deere, we pick up a couple sickles, put them on in the morning, and pretty soon in a couple days we'll have the whole thing replaced. Okay, let's get rolling. Gosh, the trees are turning. It's a beautiful time of year. I love fall. Some people like spring planting season over harvest season, and I don't know what we'll do with those crazy people. Got Spence unloading. The beans aren't yielding as good as the other day, so we must have gotten to some worse spots here. This load's averaging 60 bushels an acre. Everything's going good. Gosh, there's some green beans here still that are super tough to combine, so I gotta go slow. I slowed down to like 1.5 miles an hour. So we got a, gosh, I hear some, listen right here.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to hear it down there.
I noticed a little squeaking in the back of the cab. Luckily it's not anything in the rotor, it's somewhere up here on a couple gears up here. So it's close by, it's right behind the cab. Auger conveyor, very interesting. It's just a loose or broken belt. Oh, the chain. Yeah, I'll shut it off here. Well, at least that was easy to pinpoint. But unfortunately, we're gonna be down for a little bit.
You mess with that. I'm gonna go find something.
Honestly, all it is just this plastic. It feels like a plastic kind of rubbery piece that I think is it's just the tension adjustment. That's all it is. We got the part. This is what we were missing. All it is just the guider adjuster on the tailings elevator, a chain adjuster. So put her back on. Now I got Spencer on the combine. He's going to be going here, And I got the homeless man's catch pan right here. So we're gonna drop this behind the combine, see if we can catch any beans here. Everything's looking pretty good. I'm not finding too many beans on the ground. Okay, what do we find here? I can't grab a single bean on here. I think what they're doing is they're hitting it and then they're bouncing off the cardboard. I was hoping to do this pass in the daytime, get a sweet picture of the combine rolling right in front of the machine shed. It's pretty cool because you got the co-op's grain bins like a mile that way in the background and stuff. Maybe next year. Okay, we're emptying the last for the night. Well, it rained last night. Luckily, we were smart to pull in all the grain. And then we got the wagon and tractor back there. It was tight to fit all this in. It rained last night, and we were hoping to go all day today. Luckily, we ran fairly late last night, and it allowed us to run late. We're gonna shell these, take them into the co-op, see what our corn moisture is, and see what farm we want to go to first on corn, whatever one's the driest. I'm not feeling much moisture on them. Plus, if we can pick up a couple of points of moisture, that'd be good since these beans are running like 10% right now. So far, nothing bad has happened. Good beans through here. Oh, son of a gun, boys. Hydro charge pressure light. Hopefully it's just a bad sensor. Right here we have hydraulic oil. I gotta figure out where it's coming from though.
I was reading the forum and people were saying this sensor right here blew on theirs, and then they just put a new sensor in and added the oil. But that, it looks like it's the sensor or it's the filter, but see that sensor coming in, electrical?
That's a good...
Dude, I swear to God, the chopper belt light is a better hydraulic light than...
Yeah, I was just gonna say, every time we've had a hydraulic issue, hydraulic oil on a belt, and
it's always the chopper belt that sends it off.
Look at it drip right there.
It's coming out of the sensor.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Alright, this was the bad part. Oil was shooting out of one of these tongs, one of these sides. So the new one was just a, I guess, better version of it.
We got this whole hillside to knock out. It's actually looking like the beans are really good through here. So we're gonna find out though. We just started getting some wickedly good soybeans through here. Like, it's so weird. The spots on the farm that you didn't think would be that good. Well, we got Spence full there. We thought, gosh, we spilled a little over the edge too. I think we're finally figuring out a good routine. I'm combining beans and we're actually going super smooth. Hopefully I don't jinx myself by saying that, but we're knocking out acres pretty quick. Oh, we were going so good, so smooth. And a small white smoke come out and I think we blew a hydraulic hose. Holy Toledo, yeah we did. Where are we leaking from? Where are we leaking from? 4 different times, 80 acres, so we're getting better. 20 acres per breakdown. That's not too bad. Last one to the shed's a loser.
Come on, get the gear. Oh, holy cow, you're flying.
Oh, this is why we break stuff. Okay, we're slowing. It's the left one. Right there. Okay, so what's coming out? Where's it coming out?
Literally.
Oh, so it's just a 1/4 inch one? Hopefully tomorrow when we film again, we start fresh, no breakdowns. We have 13 acres of beans we gotta finish yet. I thought we were gonna make it. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, as long as we don't break down again, we should be able to start corn. 3 of our issues so far have been hydraulic issues. Wondering, like, do we have some hydraulic pressure issue on this combine? If another hydraulic hose blows, I'm gonna really think that. So far our field average is 65. I think that might be a little low. We got 11 more to do. I want to make sure that head's working properly. Should be good with everything. We're looking good through there. I'm always watching for rocks and stuff. Right back there, a spot we just did, there was literally a pond, a previous pond. This was all cattle pasture, and there was a pond that was buried there. And so there's kind of a lot of clay, because the pond probably had a clay bank, I guess, but there's just a ton of clay and a ton of rocks all around there. So it's real slow, and you always gotta keep a move and keep an eye on rocks. Oh, this was tight last year. We need to expand this here. Oh. So here's the culvert. It's gonna be close. You should be good though. What you thinking?
A little worse than last year.
I was gonna say.
You're good, straight on. Drop that or go.
And the last beans for the 2022 season. Oh, don't break down, don't break down, don't break down. Are complete. I'm gonna switch over the combine to corn. Accelerator, feeder house level, we gotta go. Chopper belt in the back, and then raise the knives, and then rotor speed also. And then corn head speed. Gotta raise the corn head speed also. This is just to get a couple acres out, run a test run, see what moisture the corn is really. We're not gonna do much at all. Dad's leading ahead, he's gonna be in the tractor. And then Spence is gonna come and he's gonna bring the other wagon with the truck here. If you guys remember from planting video, we had one row that didn't plant. There's the row. We went a little bit. Okay, we got the underrows taken off. We're full here. Gonna dump Spence. But really guys, oh man, unless our yield monitor's off, I'm really not seeing a good yield out of here. It was just way too wet early. And then we didn't get any rain in July. Right now, 134 bushel acre. That is horrible. So this is corn on corn. It was rough, and I'm expecting these two partials right here to do bad. And then hopefully, once we get into some more tilled ground, it does better. Okay, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Okay, so we're not too bad. A couple strips up there. Strip down and back went 225. So that's corn on corn, and that is shocking through there. That is pretty darn good. But the thing is you got spots, bad drainage, blackest dirt in the world. That once again, during a dry year, does it like 130, 140 through there. How? But yet the light dirt over here, good drainage, just did 225 up there. Dad's gonna take that one back to the shed. Elevator's closed already. It's just insane the difference that this corn that has some pretty good natural drainage will run 225, 230, and then my bottom ground through here that just it's so wet will run 130, 140. The corn through some of these spots is just fantastic corn. It's pretty good here. But then you just get some wet spots on this farm that really just start bringing down the average. Okay, we're gonna head home. I have a meeting I gotta get to here tonight at 8 o'clock. We're gonna kind of back it up a little early here. We're gonna get a little bit of rain here tomorrow and Wednesday. So it is gonna be a little bit before we get harvested corn, maybe a day or two. It was a tad bit cold out last night. It might actually start, this combine always starts right up. We'll see how she does. That's good to go. We should be ready to go. Just gotta switch farms here. And this corn, I'm really curious to see how wet this is. We got a good frost, which would have killed it off, but it was pretty darn green a week or two ago. And so far that field went 240. I am just shocked, especially with having end rows like that. Like our load yield, because I didn't have to do the end rows, was 272 right there. Unless my yield, maybe my yield monitor's off or something. We'll go as fast as possible, get Spence filled. He'll be on his way, and then my dad should be showing up here shortly with the tractor. There he goes, off into the sunset. So Spence is running the combine. Didn't think we were gonna do this. I'm on the go with a military truck. Oh yeah. Ben's driving, Spence is in the drone right now. We
finished up harvest here, and over the winter going into year 3, we did a big drainage tile project on field number 3. The goal is to fix some of the low-lying wet areas that yielded close to 100 bushels per acre, while the good draining spots were yielding 200 plus. I had never done any tiling myself before, so I hired my friend Ben out of southern Iowa, who has a YouTube channel as well called Iowan Farmer. He brought his quad track and Soymax tile plow. While he was in the tractor, Spencer and I were running around digging start holes and string tile. We had Spencer's big excavator to help out as well, which we used to pull the quad track and dig a few start holes. Here's how the project went. Here is the final layout of the project. This is probably the coolest, most rewarding view. Well, actually, most rewarding will be when I get to run the combine next fall and see the yield. But here's the 22 acre piece right in front of us. It looks a lot bigger than the 45 acre piece in the back there. It's just because of the drone view. Our longest run was about 1,000 feet. This is actually going to go into beans, so I'm going to do some beans on this farm, and I'm really curious how beans are going to do under brand new pattern tile, and I'm going to compare it to my ground uphill that isn't pattern tiled to see what one outperforms. Now here is the 45 acre piece. We probably pattern tiled 30 acres of it. Some of it is kind of hilly, and so it naturally drains really good, doesn't need tile. And then here's me closing up the trench actually, which you guys are going to see in the next video, which is tillage. Like a whole tillage video and clean up. There's some more cleanup we had to do of this farm. So I'm just closing the trenches with Ben's closer. And here is the final view from above. This kind of shows everything. I was super happy with how this project turned out. It took a lot longer than I thought. It took us, I think, 7 full working days to get this whole thing done, plus equipment moving. It took a while, but I mean, Ben was awesome to have. It was great. We had Buck, we had my dad's help. I mean, plan came together and we got it done. During this time, a land auction came up and Spencer bought 50 acres and bought a John Deere 420 to start farming. Now here's the deal. This land is 100 miles north of where I'm farming, and this was always the goal, to move closer to home and move around this area. It's about a 30-minute drive from where we live currently and where we grew up, and almost a 2-hour drive from where I'm farming now. So when Spencer bought this ground, our plan is over the next year to start to move up north around this field and buy more farms and fields around here. It'll take some time though, as I will need to sell my land and 1031 exchange it for ground around Spencer. Things went on as normal going into year 3. I was now looking closely at land auctions and listings near Spencer's field. Going into the spring of year 3, I put on my own anhydrous for the first time, and we got our corn and beans planted in a good time, and now we are finally starting to get the hang of things. 2023 was a pretty perfect year. We were dry planting, dry early in June, and then caught some nice timely rains in July. If you ask me, that is about the perfect storm for a high yielding crop. We had a neighbor come and spray fungicide with his Haggy, which was cool to see for the first time and cool to ride in the Haggy for the first time. Now it's time for harvest, and we're combining beans on field number 1. The beans did considerably better than 2 years ago when we were harvesting field number 1, and I think they went in the high 60s, which is pretty good for a farm like this. Next, we had corns planted in field number 2 and 3, and we started harvesting field number 3. Keep in mind, we tiled it last winter, and now that we have the farm drained and in proper condition and have air coming into the soil, the yields were much better. Second year corn on corn was running around 230 bushels to the acre. Compared to last year, it was running like 100 to 130 on part of this field on this farm. Finally, we harvested corn on the shed farm, which is field number 2, and that was the best corn I ever harvested. It's a 55 CSR2 farm, which is actually a pretty low soil quality farm, but it went over 270 bushel to the acre, I think 275 bushels to the acre, if I remember correctly, which is extremely good. It is the best corn I've ever raised, especially on a somewhat poor quality farm. Spencer harvested his 50 acre field that he bought for the first time. Now towards the end of harvest on year number 3, I actually put for sale farm number 1 and sold that to a guy I knew.
I want to do an update video because right now it's kind of exciting times for the farming operation. If you look behind me, there's about 45 acres here that I just purchased this fall. And then if we go about 5 miles straight west of here, there's about 80 acres that I just purchased. Now on net acre basis, nothing's like changing because I'm trading certain farms, I'm selling off certain farms and buying certain farms. And also forgot to mention this piece that I'm actually filming on right now is Spencer's.
So he's got about 45 acres over here, and I bought about 45 acres over here, although only like 38 are gonna be tillable over here. I knew long-term eventually kind of wanted to buy closer to home. And you always know that in the back of your mind that, you know, the 1031 exchange process is there. So if you want to trade farms around or trade land around, it works out pretty good and stuff. And so in my mind, I kind of had, you know, the perfect situation would be to be able to buy like a really nice acre, well, it doesn't have to be really nice, but an acreage site from a retiring farmer that had, you know, the bins, the shed, the house on it, and then like a 160 or 240 kind of around it. Like that's the perfect scenario. But that doesn't always happen. And they're really hard to find. Like I've talked to a lot of realtors and stuff like, hey, if you know of something like this that ever comes available, I'd love to look at purchasing it and stuff. And so that was kind of the long-term plan, was maybe that comes up and stuff and I can trade my farms I just bought for that. Well, you start realizing like farming's all long-term gains, and you can't build a farming operation for like 5 or 7 years and then go and pack that thing up and then just move somewhere else and restart and stuff. So I kind of realized that, and maybe I got a little too impatient and was just like, okay, well, if you want to kind of farm around home or farm kind of closer to back home and stuff, you need to just kind of start buying it. And there may be an opportunity that like a nice farm site comes up and stuff, but it's really rare. So basically that's what I'm doing, is just trading the first farms that I owned and just trading those for these over here. And it sounds really easy to do, and it's kind of complicated because you gotta go through this is actually a reverse 1031 exchange process, but there's all these kind of tax laws that you have to follow within the rules and stuff. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're not purchasing like any new ground at the moment unless I have to add more capital to the deal to make it work. But otherwise, like on net, nothing's really changing. I know I'm gonna get this question. How much did you pay for farmland? Being Iowa farmland, I've heard of farm sales go for $25,000 an acre, $30,000 in Missouri. How much did you pay for it? I will tell you, on the 80 acres that I purchased, it was a public auction. That was $13,700 an acre, and I would say that's pretty. That was pretty fair. It was you know, a pretty standard market price for around here. It was 82 CSR2, but there is a spot on that farm that ponds a little bit, and you guys will see that in the drone photos. It had to be replanted last year and planted horizontally north and south instead of the east and west the way it should. So that discounted the value a little bit for sure there. But yeah, so now that me and Spencer are in an area where it's like you're gonna be long-term, you can start making a lot of long-term decisions. Like, even though I probably shouldn't have built a shed, I did build a shed on one of my farms 2 years ago. But you can start building a shed, you can start building bins in the future, like way in the future. We don't farm enough acres at all to, for now, the co-op works good. But eventually bins down the road and stuff, and maybe a house and stuff, and you got kind of your home base.
Going into year 4 is completely a transition year. I've still got one farm, which is farm number 3 down south, that I'm in the process of selling, but I'll still be farming this summer. And then I have 2 fields I bought up north that I'll be farming. At the end of the year and going into year 5, I'll be fully transitioned up north by then. But for year 4, it's a weird year where half my land is down south, half of it's up north. We started off the spring early by planting 15 acres of alfalfa on Spencer's field.
2 weeks later, and after some sunny days, the oats and alfalfa start to take off here. This is late May, about 6 weeks after seeding. Some spots are for sure a lighter.
I bought a sprayer over the winter, and I'll now be doing my own spraying, where before it was all hired out. So it's just an extra task this spring. Now it's time to plant some corn and beans on my new fields.
Got to get the 8110 off the sprayer here, but we got to throw it on the mulch finisher and then throw it on the planter. And then after we get done planting, throw it back on the sprayer. It's a little tough doing it with one tractor, I'm learning. Plan is to get another tractor, guys. I know a lot of people have been asking. And we need something that can kind of do everything. You know, can pull, I want to get tile plow, so pull a tile plow, and then heck, maybe even, I don't know, throw on a spray or something, or obviously run tillage too. That'd be good. So this maybe this summer and early fall, I'll probably be looking for another tractor. Prices are definitely coming down of equipment, so it's kind of a nice time right now to be buying another tractor, as prices are really starting to come down. It seems like I've seen on some auctions, so maybe there's some deals to be had out there. We are rolling on planting. This is awesome. Being able to farm this farm with like 3/4 mile long rows. I don't think I've ever done 3/4 mile long rows. I'm just gonna call it quits at 8:30 and just get up tomorrow morning and plant the rest of it. And it's gonna warm up good on early soybeans, but maybe I'm a bit crazy with how aggressive I am here. Okay, we are done. We were so close on seed. We're rolling. I just did the first pass. We got Kent from Advanced Agrilytics and Gunner from Advanced Agrilytics helping us put in this plot here, but we're gonna knock out the end rows quick and then we're gonna put it in the plot. And then these guys are just vacuuming it all out. You are rolling. Have 16 acres left. So here's our hybrid plot down there, and then here's the rest of the field here. It's pretty square. The last pass of plant 24. We got everything switched over last night and sprayer's ready to roll. I'm heading to Mark's to mix up some 32% and pre-emerge for this corn, and then we'll be done. And then we're supposed to get like 3 or 4 inches of rain, and maybe we'll have some replant. We'll see though. Working good, 20 gallon an acre, so it's kind of thick. Spraying, it just takes so much getting used to though. Like once I get some more acres in me, I'll feel more comfortable and get more used to it. So, like I know, like in mental, you have like 2 or 3 spots in your head where like, oh boy, I wonder how that's gonna come up. We plan through a wet spot or something like that. So that's why I'm super excited when this stuff comes up, if it does, to kind of see how everything turned out. Every year it's always like, you're always worried, oh boy, I planted that too wet, until it comes up, and then you're like, okay, it was good, we're good. We're planting in good conditions. Okay, sprayer is unhooked, and now we're hooking up to the co-op's fertilizer spreader on a very, very windy day. It's definitely not the best day to spread this, especially since I'm gonna try and do strips. I think I finally got this thing ready to go, and we're ready to spread some sulfur. Brown, 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 brown. I wish it was like white, but it's there. It is there. I'm gonna call Spencer, see if it hit him.
Here's a picture of last year on my sulfur trial. This was some 5-6% organic matter soil. It was heavy. I was surprised to even see this vegetative difference right here. It ended up being, in some parts of this field, a 6 bushel advantage. Other parts, I didn't see any advantage, but I spread it too late. This year, we're spreading at pre-plant. I'll be curious to see how it does. I do have some lower organic matter soils on the farm we're spreading, so I think we'll see more of a response this year. Over the summer, I bought a nice 4020 to have as a small kind of miscellaneous tractor that can run augers, do hay work, mow, do all sorts of things. Okay, so this is the first real test drive back home. Now this is a side console. So you have your hydraulics here on the earlier model 4020s, and then we have our 3-point, and this is why it's side console, because you have your 3-point right here, which can raise lower, and then you have your 2 SCVs right here, your 2 hydraulics right here. And it's super handy having them here. And pretty much every single tractor from now that's made from Deere has their controls on the right side. You know, you got your command center, you got your controls on the right side now. Theoretically, this is the year John Deere made the change to having your controls kind of over on your right side. And then we have our power shift transmission. And this is nice from the testing I've done with this. First, and then you do not have to use the clutch at all to shift up to second, third, and you don't have to use the clutch at all. And we're gonna see how this thing does cutting some oats and some alfalfa. So my neighbor Mark does a lot of seed corn, and on his end rows, he planted a lot of oats. He went through and harvested the oats with his combine, and he'll use those oats, like the actual seed, for cover crop. And then they left the straw chopper off and down so it created a windrow, and we came right behind them and windrowed all the straw into straw square bales.
How many bales?
180.
180?
82.
Then before harvest, we brought my combine into the shop to get inspected. Bryce, Spencer, and Mark and I did most of the repairs needed for it to get ready for year 4 of harvest. Now we are ready for bean harvest, and all we will be doing is 80 acres of corn and 80 acres of beans. I ended up hiring out all the harvesting on my south farms because I didn't want to drive the combine 90 miles between them just for one field.
We got the first day of soybean harvest. You better get going. Your ride's taking off. In case you guys don't know, that is Josie. She's on the harvest crew this year. She had the day off from work, and so we're like, we need your help. Spencer's girlfriend and now fiance. They're getting married summer of 2025. And to keep you guys updated, we've got about 160 acres to harvest this year. I've got another 100 acres down south that's 80-90 miles away. It probably doesn't make sense to take the combine down there and harvest it. I've got some good neighbors. One of them, he's got an X9. He's like, hey, I'll harvest it for you. So we're gonna have him harvest it. Should be awesome, and he should be able to knock it out in, like, I don't know, a couple hours, 8 hours, something like that. I did buy a piece of ground up here, so that farm's now sold. I'll show you guys the new farm. And I've got everything traded, so all of our farmland's now in this area. So next year we'll have a lot more acres in this area. Things logistically wise, things will work a lot smoother. And we're off.
One thing that we got to work on for next year is controlling water, hemp, and soybeans. It's something in the wet areas of this farm that I definitely struggled with this year.
Okay, so we're unloading in the seed tender, and then Josh has a scale on there, and he's gonna run that scale against what I have on the yield monitor, and we're gonna make some adjustments to the yield monitor.
We ended up getting the yield monitor calibrated and dialed in, but my mic cut out again as we were pulling stakes on this sulfur trial. We ended up seeing a 3 bushel advantage with 100 pounds of AMS out front, right at pre-plant of soybeans.
Beans are maybe a tad bit above expectations. Right now on this load we're running about 70, 71. That should be calibrated. They're running around 11, 12% moisture. There's a lot of rocks in all this ground where we're farming. This is part of the Des Moines Lobe, which Des Moines Lobe had a lot of rocks in it. So this is the first time I really have to kind of worry about rocks when I'm combining beans. The ground I owned previously wasn't rocky ground, and so I didn't even think about it twice about hitting a rock. But this ground, especially when you get on some of these side hills, it seems like there's a good amount of rocks in them.
We got our first load in. It was 12.1% and 500 bushels. So I don't know how much Grant wants to do tonight. Sun's going down.
We are rolling. I'm in some Spencer's beans right now. We're cutting at an angle. I don't cut the straightest without auto steer. I'm trying to keep a straight line, but we can get a little squiggly. Spencer's beans, though, are yielding better than my beans, like a noticeable difference by like 2 or 3 bushel, it seems like. I think we'll be right at 70 or a little over 70, and for this farm, I'm
really happy with that. You know, I've talked to a lot of people, and nobody that I've talked to has been over 80 bushel beans, which last year there were some guys down my neighborhood, down south, that were over 80 bushel beans on some farms, and nobody I've talked to has been over 80. So I think beans have been a little less than expected. Hauling 2 wagons at a time is so much more efficient, and the biggest hill we have is right here, and the 8110 just walks right up it. Okay, me and Spencer did some totaling based off the scale tickets. It yielded above expectations, 71.3 bushels an acre so far. We got the first day of corn harvest here. We're in Spencer's alfalfa field because I had to get the header hooked up. We've got about like 80 acres of corn to harvest. It's my only 80 acres of corn. We got done with beans like 2 weeks ago, so I've been sitting around waiting for this corn to dry out just a little bit. So we're gonna get started. 260, 250. I'm already counting on the yield monitor. I do this way too early. Okay, so we're getting into corn. I'm just taking off the end rows here. I'll be super curious how the corn's yielding. It seems like we got a lot of good potential here, but yield monitor's always off until we calibrate it seems like. Right now it's saying 17% corn. But I'm guessing this corn is probably wetter than what that's saying, because that's saying like 17.5, 18%. It's really not too insane at ears. On the other side of the field in our plot, I was seeing way better stuff than this. Here they're consistent. Other spot places they're not as consistent as this. So this is gonna be some pretty good corn, guys. I'm super pumped. Right now I reset the load on this strip across the field. We're running 263. This is gonna be awesome. I think there's gonna be some good corn out here. Yeah, hopefully that's accurate. That should be calibrated. So super pumped for corn on corn to do this good. The question is how well does the pond do down there? That'll be interesting. We got the field opened up, the hybrid plot all cut out, and all the end rows done. Now what's really gonna kill this field average is the replant pond I have. Currently it's averaging 30 to 75 bushel through the replant pond. So you go from really good corn to really poor corn to really good corn because it's right in the middle of the field. Unfortunately, I bought this farm last fall and didn't get any time to fix any drainage issues. And I knew there was drainage issues out there. I was hoping for a drier growing season, and we got the complete opposite of it. So this is kind of to be expected. Okay, the plot's done. Josh is taking off into the sunset like a true winner because his hybrid ended up winning the high management plot right there. Here we go, the last 6 rows. Field average came out to 221.
Now the next morning, Grant drove down to his last field down south where he started farming 4 years ago. A neighbor's custom harvesting it, as Grant has sold the land but still owns the crop.
Okay, so we're finishing up my farm down south. These guys harvested about 80 acres. They came. Now what's really neat here is Corey bought an X9, and this is your first year running it, right? Correct. Gotcha. And we got Brooks here in the cab, so we got room for all 3 of us here. So Corey here has a 45 foot draper, and I have a 25 foot grain header, and this just feels a ton bigger. It feels like I'm in a way bigger machine, almost twice the machine here. So you said you can push it to, like right now you're going 4 mile an hour. 5.4. So right now we're harvesting the beans on the part of this farm that we pattern tiled on 30-foot spacing. So I've already got part of the yield map from Corey, and then we're kind of finishing the rest off. It'll be super interesting to see how the tile does. From the yield map Corey already sent me, it seems like the wettest spots before we had tile are the best producing spots now. And maybe that's because there's a little more fertility there or something, but that's what I noticed on the 22 acre piece is that the wettest spots produce the best beans this year. Gotcha. Well, kind of a bittersweet moment. This is the end of farming down in this area, the area I started. This was officially my last crop off of my last farm in this area. And this, I mentioned it earlier, but this farm's actually been sold, and it was sold in the middle of the summer, so I still own the crop on it. And this is officially my last crop off of it. Guy bought it, and I think he's got it rented out for next year to somebody else. So yeah, it's one of those things, when I'm down in this area, I'm for sure gonna try past these original farms I started on, and I'll be curious what they look like in 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now. It'll be really cool driving past them. We got something arriving, something that's pretty exciting. I've been searching for kind of all summer and all fall. We finally got one bought, and the semi should be behind me, coming in right there. There she is. There she is. I want to take her down the road, actually. Here she is. I'll give you guys a rundown of the controls. I need to clean it. This thing, like I said, just came off the farm. It was actually on a grain cart, a brand new grain cart the guy had, and he never ended up using this grain cart the whole year. It was just sitting on a brand new grain cart, because I think he had 2 other grain carts. I don't think it was ran much in the fall, but in the spring it was ran on a planter. Okay, so it's a 2010 8320R. It does not have IVT. It's power shift. I was 50-50 on IVT power shift. Whatever one came up, I was going to go with. So I didn't necessarily have to have power shift. I was just, if there's a nice deal on one that had IVT, I was going to get that. Also, boy, the road speed on this is super nice. So essentially, this is a 30 series tractor with just a 8R series cab, but it's the exact same thing as a 8430 or 8530, which that's actually what I was looking for, is like an 8530, 8430, or a 2010 8R is what I was kind of looking for. So it's got R34 420 R34 fronts, which is the smaller tire actually, because they come in R38 too, and then everything's set out wide. So what we're going to use this tractor for is, the main thing right now is to pull a tile plow. I bought a 3-point tile plow, which you guys will probably see in next video, but then on top of that too, it's going to work super nice in the spring, because I'll have the 8110 on the planter. And then I'm going to put this, most likely I'll probably pull some weight off, because we'll have it weighed up crazy in the fall, but I'll pull some weight off and we'll put this on the pull type sprayer, and then the any tillage, so the mulch finisher in the springtime. So mainly the mulch finisher, and then when we're throwing pre-merge on, we'll quick drop the mulch finisher and throw it on the sprayer in the springtime too. So gonna work out super good. So the first new job for the 8R we got is to hook up to the disc ripper. It worked out extremely good, having plenty of horsepower, and that thing bowled like a tank compared to what we were used to. In late November, we bought a Solmax tile plow to start tiling a couple fields. It's a 3-point tile plow and hooks right up to this tractor. So that's the main reason why I actually bought this 8R. Now in 2021, you guys saw me build a machine shed. I had since sold farm number 2 with that machine shed, so we don't actually have any storage, and luckily up north I had a neighbor that had a shed that he was willing to rent us. We started tiling, and the first main I pulled in was in the dark. We had weather coming up on us, and I pulled a 6-inch main, and then we started pulling 4-inch laterals after that, connecting to the 6-inch main. And then about a week later, after some frost, a little bit of frost got out of the ground, and we pulled an 8-inch main up the waterway. There was still a good amount of frost in the ground, so it was chunky and it was hard pulling, but we got her done and put in before winter came. And then come springtime, we finished the whole project up. The other 75% that needed done, we finished up in the springtime. Here's what the whole overview of the project is from a high up drone spot. So it was about 70 acres on 40-foot laterals with 2 or 3 different main and outlet points across this farm. And so this concludes farming year 4, and now we're heading into the spring of farming year 5. In year 5, all of our fields are now up north. Things are starting to come together, and in fact, another 120 acres of additional rental land from a neighbor. It is officially the start of spring planting. Today's April 10th, and next 2 weeks are going to be gorgeous. So we're going to get everything in the ground. We're going to first start with soybeans here, and then we're going to finish up our corn.
just have I have one row that's not planting, row 7.
All right, row 7 is working now. All rows are going.
Spencer's taking over the planter. I'm gonna go hop in the mulch finisher and hit some end rows for the field that we're gonna plant tomorrow. We are mulch finishing just the end rows here. This is what we call the interstate farm. It's right along the interstate here. I'll show you guys that tomorrow when we're planting it. But I just ripped the end rows because this is some heavy black dirt.
Well, it's the next morning now. We got the field finished last night.
And we're gonna start planting here. So me and Josie, we're gonna load the seed tender up. Got 80 acres, actually probably like 70. And then we got a bean trial plot, just a bean variety plot, going on this like little separate 5-acre field that's a part of the farm. It's like a perfect spot to run trials because it's good.
All right, Grant's gonna go for the night here. He's got the planter full. He'll go till it's empty, and then we'll be back in the morning.
Okay, so it's the next day now, and I was planting last night. It's probably like 9 o'clock, and I had the shear bolt brake on me for the drive wheel. Everything looks good, so I put another shear bolt in this morning. I didn't have one last night. So we're on the last pass of soybeans here. We're gonna fill all the boxes, get rolling here. Plan is to get 40 acres done tonight, and I don't have the bags for the other 40 acres, they're at the shed still. And then we'll plant the other 40 in the morning, and then head to the 80 that Spencer's doing. We'll plant probably 40 acres at that 80. 2.5, 2 3/4. That's kind of where we want it. That's looking good. Everything's checking out. That seed size is planting really good. Not too many skips, not too many multiples. It seems like, at least from what I can tell digging, so we're gonna keep rolling here. We got our beans planted first and then corn planted later. All of it done in record time. Having 2 tractors was super efficient, night and day compared to 1 tractor. And then after we were done planting, we put the 8R on the sprayer and got all the pre-emerge down. In late May, early June, as the corn was kind of that V4 to V8 range, we came in and did a side dress pass with nitrogen, sulfur, along with a couple other micronutrients. For the first time ever, I did a custom combine job where we harvested some wheat for a neighbor a couple miles away. There's multiple crops out in this field, and he had alfalfa underneath it, so we had to raise up our head and cut just the wheat and barley and leave the alfalfa. It was a pretty cool experience, and the guy's pretty innovative with trying different things and trying to get out of the corn soybean rotation, so I give him props for giving it a shot and being creative that way. Before harvest, we installed a water hydrant so we could clean equipment and have water at the shed, and I also bought a semi and a Kinsey 1050 grain cart. I've been looking for a Kinsey all summer and came across one at auction, and I thought it went pretty cheap for 1,000 bushel. It's an older Kinsey. We ended up selling both our Brent 657 wagons to buy this. And so now we're going to be rolling into harvest year 5, where all of our farmland is up in the north area closer to home. We'll be harvesting about 440 acres. Okay, we are starting bean harvest here, and I opened the field real quick, and we're going to do a yield check and weight check here.
I just got back with our second load, and it was still a little wetter than I would want. It was running 14%. Hopefully this stuff here and later into the evening here, closer to 13, and even under 13 would be fine. Then this is the part of the field that I was talking about that has some roll to it. So you would think actually in this year, this much moisture we got, that the rolling part of the field might do better just because it didn't sit wet. I haven't talked to Grant. We'll see how it's doing out here. All right, we are done with the field. And so we ended up averaging 83 bushels to the acre of soybeans. So 83 is super good.
We are starting on the last field of corn here. Across this field, there's about 65, 70 acres. Half of it's owned by me, and then the other half's owned by Spencer. This, I'm guessing, is gonna be our top yielding farm, even though it's the lowest CSR2 farm we have. But it's pattern tiled. Our fertility's been pretty decent on it, so super interesting to hop in it. Got the combine here. Here we go. This is gonna be super interesting with this pattern tile farm. See how it does. On one of the wettest years on record, I can already see between two hybrids, one of them super green, and I can see them striped, and the other has some green left into him. Josie just dumped the truck. She's going back to unload Spencer. Working good having Josie run cart for us. Keeps all of us going here. This is our new truck, Kenworth T880 here. It's got a Cummins in it, and then it's got a 10-speed automatic transmission in it. I know some of you guys won't like that we bought automatic, but it just seems like they're a little simpler to run. It's got 497,000 miles on it. Should work pretty good for us. The nice thing about it is it is a Southern truck, so it's completely rust-free on it, which is super nice. We do have to get some fenders because right here it's throwing rocks and you can hear them hit in the back of this. Super nice pulling up hills. It just shifts right up them and then has to downshift if it doesn't, but just super easy, super nice just pulling up these here.
This is the greenest stuff I've seen all day. And this is running average 280. So yeah, holding 280 on our average here for the past few minutes is pretty cool. Hey, we're going along, no problems. And then waterway, good thing I was going slow and we just sunk in. This is the situation we got. I think we're gonna be safe here and get out of here. Nothing's broken, it looks like. Like I said, it was a slow kind of sunk into it. That's the angle we got. You can see nothing crazy. I don't think we're gonna hurt anything here, but we're gonna play it really safe. I do have my really big excavator. I think best way is going out. The same, we came in. I think it'll be easier coming out if we pull from behind. All right, we're raising up the rear. Go as high as you can. You're good. It adjusts. This is what we're gonna pull from the hook.
Okay, so we got her all pulled out. Luckily, Spencer had the excavator on this field, so that pulled out super easily. Wasn't too bad. All it needed was a little yank, but this must have been one of our tile starter holes. We don't think it's actually the main that we put in. It's one of the starter holes, which is really close to the main, so we gotta dig it up and make sure we didn't damage any of the new main we installed here at all. Chopping her off and getting her out here. We've got about 13 acres we saved because Adam, our neighbor, is gonna take like 3,000 of those and fill a bin, and we're gonna use some of that for corn feed for next year's cattle. So stuff's running 20% probably. We're gonna let it dry down to 16, 17% and then put it in his bin with a fan on it. So that'll probably be a week from now, but we got 12, 15 acres left.
I want to tell you guys about the meat we have for sale on farmergrade.com. If you remember back in December, we bought some feeder calves, and just the other day we got all the cuts back from the locker, and it's now available to purchase online. We raised this beef over the past year on the farm, and when you place an order, it'll get shipped right to your door, frozen in a box. From over 10 different cuts of meat, and we also have burgers and even beef bacon for sale.
There's actually a neighbor in the red semi, and then Grant and Josie in our semi there. So last load going in. Old yellow looks good as long as she keeps running.
This is going to be the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this harvest video. I think it's probably around 210 to 215. One of the hybrids is running in the 240 to 270 range of strips across the field. Other hybrids running 180 to 210.
Okay, so this is the end of the past 5 years. 5 years has gone by. It's been wild. There's basically been a lot of changes to the operation. And since then, the game I started building and the software company I started building in 2020 has been completed. So American Farming has been completed, released on the App Store, has been a huge success. We've been hiring more at the software company, building more projects. The farming operation itself is currently at close to 500 acres now at the time of recording here, with another farm purchase being on the way, and everything's been going smooth. I've learned a lot, made a lot of mistakes as you guys have saw. The actual physical aspect of farming, I screwed up a bunch of times, especially in 21, 22 on crops. and stuff like that. And the goal of this video is to show how I got started on my own. There's no book on this. There's no book how to start. There's no perfect way how to start. And to be fully honest, like I said at the beginning of the video, a lot of my farming operation has been built by outside capital and by outside income that helps fund the farm every year if we're at a loss, and keeps investing into the future and back into the farming operation. So I'm not an amazing farmer or anything like that. It's kind of been the outside capital that's done it, and that's kind of the route I'm going to getting started farming. Thanks for watching this video. It's been awesome to make this, and I really appreciate you guys watching and supporting the channel.